All right. Today we've got Aaron Curtis, and tonight we're going to talk about a few things. But essentially, the purpose of these videos is one, to help young adults get through difficult times in their lives, and two, achieve their deepest, wildest goals and dreams. Thanks for joining us, Aaron Curtis. How are you?
I'm well.
Great. Aaron, I know a bit about you, but for the viewers that are watching, can you tell them who you are and where you come from and something a bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, yes, my name is Aaron Curtis. I guess I still introduce myself as a natural bodybuilder. I work as a PT, and I am now a father also.
When did you first start personal training clients?
I started working as a PT in 2004.
So it's been 15 years.
Yes, almost 15 years.
And what was your age when you started PTing almost 15 years ago?
I was 20.
20.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did you decide that you first wanted to become a PT?
I didn't. I'd done a PT course because I thought it would be interesting to learn a bit more about training, nutrition, stuff like that. I never wanted to actually start working as a PT, but to finish the course, I wandered into Fitness First Waverley to do some questionnaires and homework for my final assignment. And next thing I know, I'd signed a contract, and 15 years later, I'm still there.
So when you say signed a contract, did they propose a job for you?
Yeah, they told me that I'd be the best PT in the world and that I should start working there as soon as possible. And so I thought that sounds like a good idea, and I signed a contract and started working.
Is that something you think they said to everyone, or do you think that there was something different about you compared to everyone else?
I think that's something they say to everyone. But I think I did live the life you probably need to live to be a good example and to be a good PT.
And do you think there was something different for all the other people that would have walked through that gym and they would have tried to, push to sign a contract? Do you think there was anything different about you compared to everyone else that walked through there?
Again, maybe I lived the life. I wanted to eat well. I enjoyed training. I kept myself in shape. I wanted to learn about health and fitness and nutrition and training and all the rest. So I had immersed myself in the fitness world already.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a fleeting idea to sort of pick up the weights or do a comp. It was something that I lived already, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And when did you start going to the gym or weight training?
I started picking up dumbbells for the first time when I was 14. A friend of the family had just given me a couple dumbbells that he'd been given and he didn't use them. So he gave them to me, and I hadn't planned on starting training, but I felt bad that he'd given me something and I wasn't going to use it, so I started using them. That's literally why I started lifting weights.
Where did you go to school?
I went to school at Wesley College, Waverley.
Yeah. Is that a private school for the viewers or a public school?
It's a private school, yes. We had a gym there.
Yeah.
So I started lifting at home just with the little dumbbells, but we had a gymnasium at school that you could go to at lunchtimes as well.
Yeah. And so throughout, and did you, for the viewers, did you finish year 12?
I did finish year 12, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I managed to finish.
So by the time you were, say, 18 years old, did you have any idea what you wanted to do with your life?
I didn't have a good idea. I was interested mostly in science, maybe couple years prior, I would have focused more on maybe arts as well, and like graphic design and stuff like that. But for some reason, I never thought I should focus on that going forward. So I focused more on sort of environmental science, biology, phys ed, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have a real solid idea of where I wanted to be, at uni or even 5-10 years down the track. So I put a few things down preference-wise for uni, but the course I ended up getting into, I didn't really enjoy.
What was the course that you did?
Biomedical science.
Yeah. Where was that at, by the way? I did biomed at Monash.
I did biomed at Deakin.
Yeah.
Deakin Burwood.
Yeah. And do you think people at the age of 18 years old, do you think they should know what they want to do with their lives at that age? Is it normal to not know what you want to do with your life, or?
A lot of people seem to have a very good idea. I don't know whether that's influenced just from the parents, or whether they've really got a strong desire to work in a certain field, or have a specific job from a young age. But that's really not something that I had. I just throughout my schooling, I just tried to choose subjects that I enjoyed and I had an interest in.
Yeah.
I've always been really shit at doing things I don't enjoy.
Yeah.
I found the further I went through my schooling, the more I got to choose what I did and what I didn't do, and sort of the better my results got, the further through my schooling.
Yeah. So obviously, going to the gym was a hobby of yours, something that you enjoyed a lot, and you decided to turn that hobby into a career. Is that something that you'd recommend everyone do? Is to like, there's two schools of thought. There's keeping your passion as a passion, something on the side and enjoy it, and then there's turning your passion into, making a living and putting food on the table.
I would strongly suggest that if you have the opportunity to monetize a hobby that you're passionate about, to do that.
Yeah.
It was never a specific goal of mine to do that, but by just choosing things that I enjoyed doing, I've found myself in a career that I really love and I enjoy, and I couldn't really see myself doing anything else that I'd enjoy more.
Yeah, and that's fantastic advice there. Do you think there's any risk, or do you think there's no risk of, I guess, let's say you go to the gym 1 hour a day, for example, and then all of a sudden you're doing it 8 hours a day, or in your case, you worked probably 12 hours today, if I'm not mistaken.
How long was I at the gym? 3 hours in the morning, and then I was at the gym for 5 hours in the evening.
So,
but then I trained in that evening spot as well. So no, I wasn't quite working for that long. But when I started working, everyone said to me, other trainers there, kind of laughed at me and said, you're so into your training now, just give yourself 6 months, you'll hate this place and you'll never want to be here.
Yeah.
I thought, oh shit, that's no good.
Yeah.
I love training, and everyone here is telling me that I'm not going to want to train anymore. Well, again, 15 years later, I'm still training at the same gym, and I'd say I'm more into my training now than when I first started PT.
That's awesome.
I'm definitely not as into everything as I was maybe, what year are we in? 2019. Okay. 2010, 2011 was probably my peak, in regards to how focused I was on my bodybuilding. But I'm definitely I still try and make it a massive part of my life.
Yeah, that's awesome. And do you think the fact that you haven't, you've enjoyed your training, you've turned it into your career, you haven't burnt out, do you think that's more of the environment you work in, the people you work with, or do you think that's just your own mindset? Do you think you're quite a positive person, quite an optimistic person? Do you think there is risk of burning out for some people? Obviously not you, but is it horses for courses, or do you think everyone should do as you've done?
Well, I kind of think everyone everyone should do as I've done, but it doesn't really work that way. I think from the very beginning, I had a sort of a checklist of what I'm going to prioritise when I'm running a business and just life in general. And even from day one, when I had no clients, I would bracket times for me to train that I wasn't going to train clients. And I had the most flexible schedule in the world. I had no clients at first, so why does it matter what time I train? But I made sure that I was training at this time every day, and I could get my meals in around that, and I could sleep enough, and everything was kind of scheduled around my life as a bodybuilder. So even when I guess as busy as I'd want to be, there was always time to train, always time to eat, always time to sleep. So no matter how busy obviously I wasn't going to get over a certain number of sessions a week, because I knew that would start eating into the things that I wasn't going to let my business eat into. So no, I think that's why I never burnt out, because I always had time to do the things I needed to do.
Yeah. And so over the years, have your priorities remained the same, or have they changed slightly?
They've changed slightly. Since moving in with my fiance and then having a kid, I've definitely changed my priorities. Yeah. Eat, train, sleep, and everything else came after that. But I've definitely had to prioritise family a lot more the last few years. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's good. So how important, in order to be successful, however you may define that, I'd like to actually hear what your definition of success is, by the way. But in terms of being successful, how important is it to prioritise your tasks?
It's 100% important. That's where I see people never really achieving what they could, because they let things get ahead of what I see as what should be their priorities. If you tell me you're a competitive bodybuilder and you want to be the absolute best that you can be, but then you prioritise, it might sound, I don't know, harsh, but if you prioritise friends and family ahead of your eating, training and sleeping, then I don't know how you're ever going to, reach your full potential as a bodybuilder. And I've even seen pro bodybuilders say that they prioritise family ahead of those things, and I just can't understand that.
Yeah.
If you're a professional bodybuilder and you're trying to make a living from your sport, and you honestly want to be the absolute best that you can be, I don't understand how you can prioritise anything ahead of eating, training, sleeping.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So what would your definition of success be?
I guess it's so specific to I guess the task or the achievement or the lifestyle that you're defining as successful. I've never thought about trying to define success. But if you're asking me, to define success in regards to bodybuilding, then it would definitely be to get the absolute best out of yourself, and be the absolute best bodybuilder that you can be. I don't care whether someone's better or worse than anyone else, but if I see someone with the potential to be great, and they're slacking off in this area or that area, then no matter how many comps they win, I've always got this sort of annoying opinion of them, because they could have been better.
Yeah.
And even though they've got a trophy, which, externally that looks like success, I think to myself, you could have been better.
Yeah. So for the young people that are listening, if they wanted to pursue a career in personal training like you, would you say that it's, how would you describe it? Is it an easy process to become a successful personal trainer?
It's an easy process to become a personal trainer, but I guess over the years you see a lot of people come and go in the gym. and I'm sure everyone that signed a contract wanted to be successful. But it's not common to have someone work as a PT for an extended period of time and make a good living from that.
Yeah.
So I'm always a little bit negative when people say I want to do a PT course and be a PT. But if they live the life and they tick all the boxes, then I'm more than happy to say, yeah, that's a great idea. You should give it a go. But I think a lot of people get into the profession thinking it's going to be very easy and a great way to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I really don't see that happening very often.
Yeah. So what are the difficulties that you've faced over the years from starting from 0 clients to building yourself up with how many clients have you got? Do you track your clients at the moment? I guess some of them would come and go, wouldn't they?
Yeah, people come and go, and people just drop in to do a random session every now and again. So total clients, I really don't know.
And so, do you think doing free sessions at the start, for anyone perhaps wanting to start a career in PT, do you think doing free sessions is a good way to build up your clientele, or do you think it's a waste of your time?
It's a good way to pick up clients, but if you're working, say, 3 45-minute sessions for free, it's a lot of time and effort that you're committing to someone that may not be interested in ongoing training. So I always recommend that PTs sort of scout the gym, see people that are training regularly that maybe could use your help, and approach people yourself. Offer them a free session. If you see someone training legs like a weirdo, then offer them a free session. Say, hey, would you want to come in and go through legs? I think I can help you with this or that, and do it that way rather than waiting for the gym to hand you leads. Look at the people already training at your gym and approach them yourself.
Yeah. And so I can see obviously in your jacket there, Fitness First. How long have you been with Fitness First for?
The whole time. So that was the gym I walked into to finish off some homework at the course, and that's where I started working, and I'm still there.
Yeah. And are there any? I mean, you've obviously do you have I mean, I don't know how PTing kind of works, particularly at a commercial gym like Fitness First. Do you have financial burdens that you face with them? Do you have bills or like rent you have to regularly pay, or how does it work there?
So we're at Fitness First, we're franchisees. So we buy into a franchise and then we pay rent every week.
Yeah.
Whether you've got no clients or whether you've got 100 clients, we're all paying the same rent. And the amount of rent you pay will be different depending on where the gym is. If the gym's in the city and it's a platinum club, I think they might pay $500 or even $550 a week.
Yeah, right.
Rent. I'm a bit further out in the suburbs, so I think our rent's about $330 a week.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, for let's say someone wants to become a personal trainer, and they don't have that kind of money where they could even afford rent, say out in the suburbs, like where you are.
Yep.
What would your advice be to them if they wanted to find a gym that they can train in? Is there an affordable way to do it? Is there a way they can do it on the cheap, or?
I guess you could do it as a mobile PT, but then you're going to have to pay for all your equipment yourself and be able to cart it around to wherever you're going to train out of.
Yeah.
They always give you a build-up period. Pretty much every gym would have a build-up period, so you're not paying rent from the first week.
Yeah.
You might have free rent for the first month. You might be on half rent for the next month, and then they might put you on full rent after the first couple of months, something like that.
Yeah.
So whether the rent's more expensive in the city or cheaper in the outer suburbs, you're always going to have to pay something.
Yeah.
But you should have enough time to be able to build up a client base to pay for that before the time comes.
Yeah, sure. Aaron, who would you say is one of the most influential people in your life and why?
I don't have specific sort of idol or mentor or anything like that. So I probably have to say the people I've learned the most off would be my parents.
Yep.
Good and bad, learning what to do, what not to do. I would definitely say mum and dad have been the biggest influence on the person that I am today.
Yeah. And growing up, did you have an idol in terms of bodybuilding, or have you got a mentor who's a PT, who's a successful PT that's imparted their wisdom on you?
Not really. I mean, I used to take an interest in like Schwarzenegger movies, Stallone movies, Van Damme movies when I was little. Dolph Lundgren. I remember admiring them all because they were big, strong, and muscular. But I never really put two and two together. I didn't really realise that they lifted weights to look that way. I just knew they looked cool.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until years later that I actually realised that lifting weights was a way of growing muscles.
Yeah.
Even after I started training, I think it was probably 6 months after I picked up my first dumbbells. We had a phys ed class at school, and the teacher got us to flex our biceps.
Yeah.
Everyone in the class is flexing their biceps, and my bicep was bigger than everyone else's. And that was kind of the first time I realised that the weights I've been lifting have grown my bicep.
Yeah. I remember one of my fondest memories about, muscles and stuff like that. I think I was about 8 or 9, and Nathan Buckley played for Collingwood at the time, and he had an amazing vein that ran down his bicep.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget watching the TV, and I remember I went into my room and I started just doing sit-ups, and I had one of those, they're like little elliptical things, but the home version one, so it's a bit like old and shoddy, but yeah, that's one of my fondest memories. And then I remember living with my mum when I was 12, and a bloke came to live like in downstairs, and he brought his own gym, and I remember lifting weights there. And I don't know if you know Rafferty Aids.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still very good friends with him as well. And then we used to skateboard together, but then he started going to the gym, so he inspired me. And and then I remember really, really fond memories, great memories actually. I remember I used to look at the weights and think, how could anyone be bothered to lift that stuff? Isn't that the most boring thing anyone could do? But it's really not. Like I've got I'll actually, for the viewers, I've got a little squat rack in my room the other day, just to save me a bit of time. So I'm just trying to keep my staples nice and simple at the moment, just for time efficiency. But who would have ever have thought that what appeared to be the most mundane, boring thing to do, to lift a weight, is almost a form of meditation. It's so relaxing. Do you find that when you train?
Yeah, I never really realised until recently that I guess training hard was something I need to do for my mental well-being.
Yeah.
Definitely had a period of time after having my daughter where I really laxed with my diet, my training.
Yeah.
I was still training, but I was just cruising through my workouts, not really caring. And it wasn't until a long time after that I realised the sort of training as hard as I can was a real outlet.
Yeah.
And it helped me feel better for every other aspect of my life.
Yeah.
And then when I thought about it, I'd always had an intense physical activity that I'd done almost my entire life.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to run a lot. And you'd just run until you couldn't possibly run anymore, and you'd sort of fall over.
Yeah.
And then when I wasn't running as much, I was focusing more on football. And the physical contact with football, I really miss. It was such an outlet. Like, I'd never hit anyone, but just to run through a pack and just to get smashed and to smash someone else, again, just such a great outlet for me.
Yeah.
And when I stopped playing footy, I guess I focused more on the weights.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I sort of really backed off my training that I realised, like, whoa, I actually need to train hard, otherwise I'm not a pleasant person.
Yeah. Is there any particular? Do you listen to music when you're in the gym? When you're training?
No, I never have. Years ago, when MP3 players first came out, I tried it, and I had cords everywhere, and I kept pulling them out of my ear, and I kept smacking the MP3 player. So I think I tried that once or twice, and then just got over it. And then just recently, the guy I'd been training with for years, he started PTing in another gym. So we weren't training together anymore. So I thought, hey, I'm going to buy a pair of wireless earphones. I'm going to try listening to music.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really good. I did it for about a week, but then I just got over it again. No,
Yeah.
I hadn't used the earphones for a while.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not really big on listening to music when I train.
Yeah. Do you use social media? If so, what platforms are you using?
Yeah. I mean, now it's Facebook and Instagram. But back in the day, when MySpace was big, I was big into MySpace as well.
Yeah.
But now just Facebook and Instagram. Snapchat I don't even use anymore. So
Yeah. What are some of your biggest struggles in life, Aaron?
now, or over the course of my life.
When you think about your life and you think about, and you don't have to share the most revealing or personal or difficult. I mean, you can if you want, but I guess the reason what I'm asking is there a difficult time in your life that you've experienced either in the past or now that you think you can share with the viewers to give them some hope and empowerment, something that they can draw upon when they're going through some tough times?
Well, I'm not sure whether it will help anyone else, but definitely since having a kid, really struggled with my mental health. And again, I think that just came from slacking off with my physical health.
Yeah.
So not focusing on my nutrition anymore, just taking it easy in the gym. I really struggled, I guess, psychologically to deal with not being a bodybuilder anymore.
Yeah.
I guess I put a lot of my self-worth in the fact that I was not so much a better competitive bodybuilder, like that I could beat everyone else in the world on stage, but I put a lot of value in the fact that I put more emphasis on my eating, my training, and my sleeping than anyone around me.
Yeah.
So irrelevant of my placing on stage, I put in more effort than you, so that made me feel good about myself.
Yeah.
So when I stopped doing those things, I really felt like I'd lost a big part of my life.
Yeah. And so, how have you made a plan on how to get through it? Are you starting to get through it? Have you gotten through it? What have you done to get through it?
Definitely getting through it. Again, I'd stopped doing the things that I needed to do to, I guess, feel like I was a good bodybuilder.
Yeah.
So I've just thought to myself, well, what was I doing back then? And I've just tried to replicate that again.
Yeah.
I don't have as much time to do those things anymore, but with the time I do have, I can still put in, as much effort as possible, rather than just saying, hey, I can't do it 100%, so I just won't do it at all. It's like, well, if I've only got 75% of the time and focus to put into it, well, then I'll put 75% in.
Yeah.
Rather than just wandering around saying, oh, fuck it, I'll just put in 20%.
Yeah.
So what have I done different? Again, just eating what I'm supposed to eat, training harder. That's a massive thing for me. I didn't think it was, but I need to train hard. Otherwise, I just, it keeps me psychologically healthy. Having a really intense physical outlet is important to me.
Yeah.
So just doing what you need to do.
Yeah.
Often when you're feeling down, I think you know what you're doing wrong and you know what you need to do to get better.
Yeah.
But you just keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. And you deep down you know it's not going to help, but you just feel a bit hopeless, like maybe you can't change your can't change your patterns anymore, and you used to be this, but it'll never be that way again.
Yeah.
But you just need to do it.
Yeah.
You just stop thinking about it and just, I guess, write down what you need to do every day.
Yeah.
And try and take the emotion out of it and just go through the steps that you need to go through to just get back on track.
Yeah. Do you have long-term goals? I'll start with that.
My goals in regards to bodybuilding had always just been to be that little bit better than I was yesterday. And in regards to competing, every time I competed, I would be better than I was 2 years prior or whenever I competed last. That was always a big driver for me, just continuously trying to progress. Now it's a little bit different. I feel like I've regressed a lot in the last, let's say, 8 years.
Yeah.
So if I was to compete, I feel like I'll be worse than I was last time.
Yeah.
Which in the past, I would never compete then. I would just never compete until I was better than I was last time.
Yeah.
But I've sort of changed my mindset, and if I can just be the best that I can be at this point in time, then that's great.
Yeah.
If I'm doing everything that I can make time for, and I'm putting in as much effort as I can during those times, then I should be content with that.
Yeah.
And I should try and be the best person that I can be at this point in time, rather than comparing myself to how I was 10 years ago when I lived at home, I was single, or I had a girlfriend that I didn't really commit a lot of time to, and I didn't have a kid, and I wasn't as busy at work. I feel like I can't replicate that person again with the lifestyle that I have now.
Yeah. Do you, aside from you've obviously got your bodybuilding goals, your priorities, as we've spoken about, have changed since you've become engaged and had a child. Do you write down your goals? Do you write down your priorities?
I definitely do in regards to bodybuilding.
Yep.
I guess the fact I keep talking about bodybuilding and not business, I guess is just an indicator of where I'd like my focus to be more so.
Yeah.
I've always written down my bodybuilding goals every year in the front of my training diary. I'll write down the previous year's best lifts, and then on the next page I'll write down the lifts I want to hit in the next 12 months.
Yeah.
So I've always done that. Sometimes I'd write down like a body weight goal and body fat percentage goal to be at, but generally it was more just going off the lifts, because I knew if I progressed on my lifts then my body was going to change anyway, so that was kind of just a consequence of getting stronger. I knew that I'd grow and look better.
Yeah. So we've talked about kind of, and you know, specific. Obviously, bodybuilding means so much to you. I mean, every time I've asked you about a goal or your long-term goal or your yearly goal, you've referred to bodybuilding.
Yep.
Do you keep? What about monthly goals, weekly goals, daily goals, hourly goals? Do you like how refined do you keep a refined schedule? Or is it just kind of like, you'd obviously have an appointment book for your PT clients?
Yep. So I've got a training diary for when I'm training myself. So I've got all my lifts and weights and reps that I'm doing in there. And then for my PT clients, again, I write all their stuff down as well. But in regards to sessions every week, then I've got a diary that I record everything down in. So I know, who's training when and how many sessions I'm doing and all the rest. In regards to writing goals down for my business, I haven't done that a lot over the years. I've sort of had, I guess, goals in my mind to get busier, especially when I started. And then if a few people drop off, obviously you've got a short-term goal of to fill this spot and to fill that spot. But I really struggle to remember being focused on business goals.
Yeah.
It's always been just bodybuilding.
Yeah. What about daily organisation? so I mean, you keep it for your bodybuilding personally and for your clients. What about things like, I've got to run to the store, I've got to go and buy something to eat, I've got to, call this. Do you write things like that down?
Yeah, I tend to write stuff like that down.
Yeah.
I always have.
Yeah.
Where if I know on Tuesday I've got to go to the supermarket in the morning, then I put that in my diary.
Yeah.
10 a.m. buy chicken, whatever I need to do.
Yeah, sure.
But my days are pretty set. So the times that I'm at the gym, the times I'm at home with my daughter, the times I'm training, the times I'm eating, they're all very set. So I can kind of just repeat last week again, and it'll be pretty much the same every week.
Yeah, and you write that down manually with a pen on paper and a diary? Is that how you...
Yeah. I'm still old school. I still write everything down in a little student diary with a pen.
Yeah.
Even when I'm working out, like if I'm writing up a new diet for myself, I get all my clients to use my MyFitnessPal, but I end up writing it down on paper.
Yeah.
And just working out the macros myself and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. And I mean, that's something I see personally, is that everyone, and the people that I work with a number of people, and the thing that I see is everyone's got their own kind of system as the way they write things down. Some people have sophisticated systems like Trello to stay organized. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. I don't use Trello. I'm almost stuck in my own ways as well. I personally write things down on almost like a Word document on my computer. I've got a number of different checklists, and then I've got staff at work that have to write things down on a piece of paper, and they like to cross it out. So there's a lot of different ways that you can stay accountable, not rely on your brain to remember tasks, because it doesn't matter how good you think your memory is, things can fall through the nets. I think you've got to have a system. You've got to stay disciplined with, if you want to achieve, your goals, your long-term, mid-term, short-term goals. Me personally, I think it's a great idea to not let anything fall through the net, and to have it written down. And it just, I don't know how you feel, but how do you, when you tick something off, does that give you a bit of a little tingle in your stomach, or is that just me?
It definitely makes me feel good. I haven't ticked many things off the last few years, so actually I did deadlift more than I've ever deadlifted before, sort of recently. So for me to hit a PB in the gym was incredible.
Yeah.
Because I literally hadn't done it since probably 2011. Was probably the last time I was kind of progressing on anything.
Yeah.
So to hit a PB on a like a basic movement was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Even though you're still young, Aaron, what would you say is your greatest accomplishment so far? We haven't spoken about this yet. I think I've got a hint as to at least one of the things it might be.
Yep. Someone asked me this question recently, and yeah, again, it wasn't winning a certain show or anything like that, but it was the place I got my physique for the 2010 bodybuilding season is definitely, I guess, looking back, my proudest moment.
Yeah.
So to get in contest shape and still be on like 3,000 calories, I think about trying to do that now, and I'm like 20 kilos over stage weight on 3,000 calories.
Yeah.
Like how the hell did I get stage lean on 3,000 calories? That doesn't make sense. So to have sort of had such a productive off season, to have built my calories up so high, and then being able to come back down and get that lean and still be eating that much food, it may sound insignificant to most people, but for me that's fantastic.
Yeah.
To see that I was able to do that.
Yeah.
And I looked great as well. So
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome. And I mean, me personally as well.
Did you think I was going to say my daughter?
That's why I said one of the things. I knew one of the things.
Yeah, she's good as well.
For sure. For sure. I mean, yeah, and me personally with my weight training, for me it was always about, I want to take, like, it's always good to win things and etc. etc. But for me, and I don't know if you feel this as well, for me it was about getting the best photo I could get. That
Yep.
for me, and for me to actually find, I know what my best photo is right now. And I might actually put this at the. I might get Jazz to put this. I'll get her to put your photo on the start of the video as well. But I can think about it right now. And in order to find my best photo, I actually had to scroll frame by frame through video footage of a competition and just start with just a 1 millisecond. And I'll bang. That's a money shot. Screen print. For me, that was always my aim when I trained.
It's interesting you say that because there's a few photos from the same day for me that just encapsulate what I just talked about, like that whole off season, the comp prep, and the end result. That now when I look at those photos, I'm like, that was such a process to get to that point.
Yeah.
And at the time, it wasn't an effort. It wasn't hard for me. I wanted to do it. I wanted to commit all my time and effort to this.
Yeah.
Whereas now to try and replicate that, I'm like, wow, I'd have to just sacrifice so many things to get back there.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic at this point in time.
Do you think you're like... Yeah.
Again, that photo really represents what I'm proud of.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and you should be proud of it. And the viewers will have seen when they watch the start of this video, they'll understand, why you're so proud of it. It takes a lot of effort, so it really does take a lot of discipline, really a gut wrenching hard work. So I've got to. Who is the one person that you trust the most, Aaron, and why?
Other than myself?
Sure. You trust yourself the most? Do you trust anyone else?
Yeah, I'd probably have to trust my fiance a fair bit, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Why do I trust her? Well, she's trustworthy. That was one of the traits, I guess, that I saw in her from the start, that I could trust her.
Yeah.
That was one of the traits that I guess attracted me to her in the first place, and allowed me to see her as a suitable long-term partner.
How do you know, Aaron, if you can trust someone? Is there anything that they do or they don't do to know if they're trustworthy or not? How do you know, for some people that might be watching that may have had their trust broken in the past and may find it difficult to trust others in the future, is there any parameters that you look at with regards to know if someone's trustworthy or not?
Yeah, well, if they're constantly lying to you, they're probably not that trustworthy.
Yeah.
Again, some people are really good liars, so you don't know if someone's talking shit to you or not.
Yeah.
And until you really get to know that person, you won't know whether they're trustworthy or not.
Yeah.
But I would take a look at the relationships they have with their friends and their family, and I would probably put a lot of emphasis on that before you think you know someone 100%.
Yep. Well, they say that the strongest predictor of someone's future behaviour is to simply look at their past behaviour. Makes sense.
Yep.
What is a hidden talent you have, Aaron? Can you show us?
Other than being good at eating, training, and sleeping, actually, it's eating. I can eat a lot. So yeah, there's a few videos on YouTube. I think if you go search Zach Curtis YouTube, there's a couple videos of he and I eating copious amounts of food. Yeah, I'd say the ability to eat copious amounts of food. That's a hidden talent of mine.
So when you say copious, be specific. How copious are we talking?
Well, the worst thing ever was this bloody burger challenge we did called the Don at the Beer and Burger Bar in Richmond. I think it was a 3.2 kilogram burger. It had two ridiculous sized patties. They must have been about 800 grams each or something like that. Had like 20 slices of cheese, had a few tomatoes, it had a whole lettuce, it had 3 massive buns on it. It was a monster of a burger. And you had to finish the burger, eat a bowl of chips, and have 2 soft drinks. It was like a challenge. Myself, Zach, and another bodybuilder called Kwame, we all did it together. And I never planned to finish it. We were sort of just doing it as a joke. But I'd sort of been munching my way through it and had finished what everyone else had. And then one of the guys from the store walked past and said, you got 5 minutes to go, you better hurry up. And I looked at what I had left and I thought to myself, far out, like, I know what I can eat in 5 minutes and I know I can finish this if I really try. So I just scoffed the chips, got the drink, finished the burger, and I've just never been in so much pain and discomfort in life.
Yeah.
Watch the video, I turned green and I just, it's like my stomach had drained every ounce of energy out of my entire body. I looked like a shriveled prune with this fat stomach, and it was a interesting experience.
So it was 3.2 kilos. Is that?
I'm pretty sure the whole burger weighed 3.2.
That is ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
It was a big burger.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't do it again, even if you paid me to get stuff.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, Aaron, I just want to, sincerely, I want to say thanks. I know you're a busy guy. I know you're a very popular man. And I really appreciate your time, taking the time out to impart just, some tips of, as to what goes on between your ears. And, some inside tips for the viewers. So we really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, Daniel.
Thanks, mate. So, you have a good evening. It's 11:30 p.m. on a Monday night at the moment. No rest for the wicked.
I better have some dinner.
You enjoy yourself, mate. Thanks again, Aaron. Really appreciate it, mate.
You're welcome.
Thanks, mate. We'll talk soon.
See ya.
Cheers.